UConn had to have it tonight. Had to have it. They fell behind by double digits. With about 11 minutes on the clock. Again, things didn't look great. But at the end of the night, they're 10-5 in the Big East. They're 18-8 overall. They escape from Villanova. They find a way late. Liam McNeely scores 16 of his 20 in the second half. Solo Ball gives him 13 and 6 assists. Terrace Reed was big late. Connecticut beats Villanova 66-59. Mike LaTulip, sometimes when you lose a game like the Huskies did on Saturday, the natural question is, well, how are they going to respond? Well, early on, you could almost feel the after effects of a game like that. But they don't ask how you do it or what happened. They just look at this time of year. Did you win or did you lose? And UConn needed this game. And to their credit, Mike, they closed.
I was fascinated to see how they'd come out in this game because it's they had a rough couple days of practice. You know that film was brutal.
Rough doesn't even begin.
You know that guys got absolutely eviscerated. And so what's interesting is like when you are, and Tio, I'm sure you've been a part of those film rooms and those practices, like when you come back out to the court, like all you want to do is get back on the court and just play, right? Because then it's just the next game. But, I think what we saw is, you can be so revved up and, hey, we want to like play hard and do this and do that like you forget to kind of be loose offensively. And you kind of, you almost come out tight offensively. And then you're in front of your home crowd as well. And then defensively, I mean, the times where UConn has faltered this year is when they've beat themselves. And just really to start the game, I mean, the game plan early was we're going to switch everything with Eric Dixon. If Solo Ball or anybody gets on him, then we're going to come over and we're going to trap. And they blow a switch on Eric Dixon. He hits a three. And then I think the first three hit, McNeely's guarding him. Reed comes over to trap. Dixon throws it out of the trap. Both McNeely and Terrace Reed run away from Dixon. They throw it right back to Dixon for a three. So you're sitting there, you're like, are they going to do this beat themselves thing again? And then, they were able to weather the storm on multiple Nova runs that felt like they were backbreakers. I mean, the 8-0 run in 55 seconds to make it 42-31 was like, oh man, I mean, this could really, they might let go of the rope here. But they didn't. And I thought, McNeely was great on the glass to be able to send himself to the line by creating, collisions in the paint there on the defensive glass. And then Terrace Reed just really kind of lurking behind that Villanova defense and finishing around the rim. I mean, they toughened up at the end of that game and they needed that big time. So it was good to see. It's good to see it. Because, I mean, if Dan Hurley lost that game, after the Seton Hall loss, after the Creighton win and the two rings, it would have gotten louder.
I think one of the big things is Villanova hit a lot of hero shots. You alluded to one where they were Connecticut overcommitted, but Villanova does a lot of one-on-one stuff. Like they're making fantastic plays. We were talking off air, like Wooga Poplar, it was awesome at points today, but eventually that gas tank runs out a lot quicker than a regular car. Because when you're living and dying on some of these really tough shots and trying to do so consistently, it's impossible to do that over the course of 40 minutes. And eventually you get caught up. It was Dixon who started out great. Longino was good in the middle. And then Wooga was good in the second half. And then the last 10 minutes of the game, UConn just kind of stayed the course defensively, went on a 23-6 run. That's just what happened. They got enough stops, and then everything's kind of started to fold into each other. And whenever you have a couple of guys hit shots and you're able to get to the free throw line a little bit, and Liam McNeely starts to gain confidence, like those things can snowball. And I looked at this game kind of as a big picture thing. Like, I don't think, UConn's going to sit here and make a Final Four. This team's not that good. However, this could very much be a turning point in their confidence right now. 10-5 in league, got a few games left to play. Like, they could very well go up to St. John's, give it a hell of a game, and then who knows what could happen, because this is something that you could gain confidence, because they needed this win.
Well, you fall behind 53-39 against a Villanova team that's already beaten you. Yeah. And you're sitting there and you're thinking, we're going to lose this game. I mean, I think a lot of people were. And they showed their toughness. Liam McNeely's invaluable. He's one of the best 5 or 6 freshmen in all the land. He's that good. And right now, I take him over some of the guys with more upside in the NBA draft because he's a winner. He willed them to win again. Let's face it, Alex Caravan has hit a wall. He has just not been able to score to the level that they need him to score, and Hassan Diarra has been battling it. It's a seismic moment for UConn season because if you lose the game, now things are really trending in a bad direction. And by winning the game, now you head into Sunday. You've got to win. You've got time. This was on a Tuesday night. You have time to prepare. St. John's plays in Chicago tomorrow. Now, it's DePaul, but it's still a road game. They have to charter back. They'll get back at 3 o'clock in the morning on Thursday morning. Whereas for you, if you're UConn, you're in your own beds tonight. You practice hard. You get after it hard, and you say, Sunday, we're gonna do this. You already won at Creighton. Why can't you win at the Garden? You're going to have a good fan support there. It's a big win for them. And McNeely, to me, Terrace Reed has to be consistent. When Terrace Reed gives them that, they're a different team. But that's been so hit or miss for them. So if you're Connecticut, had to have it. If you're Villanova and you're a Nova fan right now, I could feel your pain. You scored 6 points in the final 11 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
That's just
Nova aided them. I mean, UConn definitely went and grabbed that game, but Nova aided them a little bit. I mean, what I understand was by the end, I mean, all the confusion you created in the first half was off Dixon setting high ball screens and slipping out and, having them bust switches or even forcing the switch and rolling a small into the paint. And that late in that second half, all Dixon did was post up Terrace Reed. And if you post up Terrace Reed, they're not going to send a second one. They're just going to go single coverage and just be able to stay home on the perimeter. So I didn't understand that at all from Villanova when you kind of went away from what was working in the first half there.